Well, a very good morning and welcome to our SA Decides feature. I'm Peter van Onselen, standing in for Audrey Chimwanda. As we go around the country in the build-up to the local government elections, we take you to small municipalities. We speak to the people on the ground in these smaller municipalities with regards to service delivery issues, health issues, water issues, plenty of issues that need to be addressed. And we take you around the country. Good morning and welcome to SA Decides. These are our top stories that we're following for you this morning. Well, as government commits 700 million rand to eradicate the bucket toilet system, Team SA Decides visits Khayelitsha, where people are still battling for their dignity. Well, just a few miles away from the biggest solar thermal electric plant in Africa, Pofadder in the Northern Cape struggles to meet its power needs. Illegal disconnections and connections now become a way of life. Well, declared a disaster area 7 years ago, Giyani in Limpopo still battles recurrent and chronic water shortages. Well, let's introduce some of our reporters here on SA Decides today. Trust me, this is not an easy job going on the road to the smaller municipalities. We battle signal issues as well, but here they are. And there they are in the provinces around the country. In the Western Cape, Nasipi who's in Khayelitsha, bringing us the latest from there. Also the Free State, Lungani in Tabanchu. There are plenty of issues around the country. But our top story today, we'll get to those reporters in just a few minutes' time. The toilet protests by Khayelitsha residents made national headlines in 2013 when activists spilled human waste at Cape Town's prominent landmarks. Now, the action was designed to force the city of Cape Town to urgently address their concerns. Our SA Decides team spent the day in Khayelitsha to find out if anything has changed.
Cape Town's Khayelitsha township is one of the most densely populated areas in the city. For years, residents here have been at odds with the city of Cape Town over sanitation issues. 2 months ago, a body was found in one of the communal toilets. It angers the community that they are still battling for their dignity.
I am not happy with the situation. These toilets do help, but at the same time, they aren't sufficient. This is not a place for someone who wants to get ahead in life. People are always getting sick from the smell that comes from here.
Children are not completely safe here. These toilets are very close to where we live. We are exposed to all sorts of diseases.
Some residents lock the toilets to try and regulate the number of people who use each toilet and to also try and keep it clean. Unfortunately, this means that other residents don't have access.
If you find the toilets locked at night, you need to knock on people's doors and ask for a key.
This is Corner People Rights Movement has rallied the residents to protest the bucket system and the portable toilets. It is the organization behind the infamous feces campaign that saw human waste spilled at Cape Town's airport, convention centre and legislature.
We have seen that the current government does not care. In fact, has no courage to eradicate what you call the bucket system. Each and every elections, they would come and tell people that once you vote for us, we will remove these buckets. That's what they are doing. Look, for instance, the city of Cape Town's budget per annum is almost 40 billion rand. And if you look at those billions as to how they allocate them, you would find out that few millions are allocated for us as people of Cape Flats and Khayelitsha.
The residents of Khayelitsha have to bear living without decent sanitation. Many of them have to walk long and unsafe distances just to use a toilet in a democratic South Africa. This suggests that a lot of work needs to be done in Khayelitsha. I am Nasipi Same for SA Decides, Khayelitsha.
Let's go now live to Nasipi Same, who is in Khayelitsha in the Western Cape. She filed that story for us late yesterday. Nasipi, good morning to you. We see those public toilets behind you, those portaloos behind you. What are the Western Cape government? They are ruled by the Democratic Alliance. Are they making any headway to try and clean up this informal settlement?
Good morning to you, Peter, and the viewers. We are in Khayelitsha, inside B, a section in Khayelitsha. As you can see behind me, we do have portable toilets which are known as mshwengus, and the people in the section behind me have been complaining that it is unsafe and it's not safe for their health nor their children. And I am joined now by Andile Lili, one of the leaders of Ses'khona People's Rights Movement, who will be telling us more on what the organization has done to help the people and eradicate the bucket system. So, Mr. Lili, can you please tell us how have you helped the people from Khayelitsha to eradicate the problem of the bucket system?
In fact, we have tried our best in exposing these kinds of dehumanizing toilets. We have tried to expose throughout the country in order for the national intervention, because as you can see, number of these families across Cape Town are living in these dirty areas. These are the areas where that even the media is not exposing them. As and when any leader of the Democratic Alliance speaks, they speak as if everything is nice in Cape Town, in particularly here where I'm coming from. So people are forced to use these kind of toilets and they are raped. You can go to the police station, nearest police station, they will tell you that each and every time there is a case reported of rape or a case reported of robbery because of the kinds of the toilets that are far from the people and the kind of the toilet, for instance, that are unhygienic, like the ones behind us. So this is the type of the struggle that we've been fighting for, and of course including SJC, they are part to this. We've been trying our best, but of course the government that you have in the Western Cape is the most arrogant one. They can't see this kind of situation. These people for more than 25 years, they were forced to live like this. Particularly now that it is raining, they must come, and you will find out when you get into this toilet, it is wet inside. Even the seat everywhere, it is wet. You can't take, as it is supposed to be a resting place. It is not like as it's supposed to. So hence I'm saying we are now going to take this city to the Western Cape High Court in order for the court to actually force the city of Cape Town to grant our people land in order to get proper toilets.
You were arrested for the Ses'khona movement. You were one of the people who were arrested for throwing feces at the international airport. What was the whole point of throwing feces at the airport, and did you achieve what you wanted?
What we wanted to was that we have to expose this city, not only in this country, but across the world, that this is a bad government ever. This is a government that took from the government of the apartheid, and they continue with the portable toilets. Coming from that, there has no changes when it comes to poor people, where I'm coming from, in these informal settlements. As and when we are in town toying, other people, they think that we just go there for fun or for media, not knowing that the people where I'm coming from are forced to live in this nasty and dirty area like this one. These people, as I've said earlier on, they have been here for more than years. So for us to go to the Cape Town International Airport, we thought that we cannot just expose them to South Africans, but the world must know that this is not a good governance at all, led by the Democratic Alliance.
Thank you so much. That was Andile Lili, one of the Ses'khona People's Rights Movement leaders, who has said that they are challenging the Western Cape government and they will be taking them to court to make sure that the people behind me and other places in the Western Cape get proper toilets. Back to you in studio. That is all from me.
Well, thanks very much, Nasipi Same. They're in Khayelitsha. She'll continue to track what's happening on the ground in the Western Cape, not just in the big areas like Khayelitsha. She'll be making her way around that entire province over the next month and a half. It's almost 2 months to go until those local government elections on August the 3rd. Nasipi Same will be tracking the Western Cape for us. It seems as though those portaloos are providing more problems for the people in that township. Well, in the build-up to the elections, the government have once again moved to show its concern over the issues. At the ANC breakfast briefing on the party manifesto, Water and Sanitation Minister committed over 700 million rand for eradicating the practice.
With the clock ticking to local government elections, service delivery is once again under the spotlight. The apartheid legacy still blamed for severe backlog.
The Mandela de Klerk Agreement actually transferred the old stock to South Africans, and that was predominantly to black South Africans. And yes, in the colored communities, there were those flats that existed in those areas, including the Indian communities. When that transfer happened to our people, it happened without any upgrade or installation of basic services. So we then had to go and deal with the eradication of a bucket in Manseville, in Katlehong, in Nyanga, and so forth.
Eliminating bucket toilets remains a challenge, particularly so in the Free State, Northwest, Northern Cape and the Eastern Cape provinces.
From 2013 to 2014, over 4,000 bucket toilets were replaced countrywide. After reaching a high of 20,000 the following year, the number slumped to only 3,000.
We're finding serious challenges in the Eastern Cape and in the Free State, because that's where they had the largest backlog of the old apartheid buckets in the townships. But because of the new innovative solutions, we are now working together with them in making sure that we don't only install flushing toilets that rely on huge bulk infrastructure. We can safely say all those old townships that de Klerk handed over to Madiba with the agreement of Madiba and de Klerk, Gauteng has no bucket system in any old township anymore.
Well, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some heartening stories of people lending a helping hand to fellow citizens. In the Free State, the Tabanchu Child Welfare Centre provides much-needed assistance to abandoned and abused children. Our SA Decides team have more on the details.
The Tabanchu Child Welfare is a haven for abandoned and abused children. The centre rehabilitates children for a period of time before foster homes are found. The centre is funded by the Department of Social Welfare, and currently 18 children are in its care.
Child welfare has got temporary safe care. It runs 24/7. Temporary safe care provides for children that have been abandoned, neglected and raped. We provide services to those children. Children are referred by the social workers and the police.
Other projects supported by the centre include a girl and boy child program under the auspices of Child Welfare South Africa.
The children are placed at the centre by the social workers through a court order, or sometimes if there's no court order, they can place, but make sure that within 24 hours there is a court order. The place is there really to ensure that children are placed in a place of safety, while the social workers are busy investigating the case in order to make informed decisions in terms of whether the child need alternative care, can the parents look after the child, all those things.
The Social Development Department in Tabanchu says they work hand in hand with other government departments. Children are referred to them and child placements go through court.
We accommodate children that are neglected, abused, abandoned in this shelter. We come across about the cases. Others, they are referred by the SAPS, others by health, all the other departments, they can refer. The community members can also report the cases of neglect. We place the children through court from this shelter so that the children can be taken care of. It is a temporal safe care placement for children that are vulnerable and children that are abused.
The Mangaung municipality also provides the centre with resources to help carry out its mandate to assist the community.
The Tabanchu Temporary Care Center for Children is not a place for an easy story. It is a home for orphaned, abused and neglected children. It is through the hard work of its dedicated staff to provide a safe and nurturing environment for those left in crisis. For ANN7, I am Lungani Mnguni, Tabanchu in Bloemfontein.
Well, let's go to Lungani now. He joins us live from Tabanchu in the Free State. Lungani, good morning to you. I know you're at that centre for the abused children. Two sides to the story. Social development seems to be working there, that this facility is available, but sad that so many children are being abused. What is the sense on the ground there?
Good morning, Peter, and a very good morning to our viewers at home. Peter, we are here at Tabanchu, a temporary care center situated right here at Tabanchu. The problems that they face as a care center is that the overflow of children that they receive here and trying to manage and trying to give a safe haven for children who are underprivileged, who are vulnerable and who have been abused. But just to give us a bigger picture of what's going on here, I'll give over to Ntabiseng Soatu, who is the center manager and who will give us enlightenment as to what happens here at the center and what is the center's functions. Good morning, Ma. Could you please just tell us what are the functions of this center and how did it come about that you guys initiated, you have such a program running in Tabanchu?
Hi. We have funded by the Department of Social Development, even though the funding that we received is a little bit more small because we cannot accommodate more than the children, more than we have in our pocket. So we only accommodate 13 children in the shelter due to the funds, but we are asking for the community to help us more to have so that we can receive more children in the shelter.
Okay, Ma, so how is the community involved in any way in ensuring that you sustain the functions of this center? Is there any help that you are getting from the community in and around Tabanchu?
Our community are helping us a lot. Sometimes they are coming here in our shelter and giving us clothes, food, and helping us in here in the shelter, because even if you can see, we are only 4 in the shelter and we already have 18 children, which is 10 babies and 8 children at age of 2 years. So we are struggling. So most of our community come here and help us in the weekends.
And there we have it, Peter. Mam Ntabiseng telling us that as hard as they are trying to keep the sanctuary functional, they are receiving some sort of funding, but it's not enough to sustain the activity going on here. And they wish that they could get more help so that they can ensure a safe haven for children who are left in destitute. That is all that we have for now, Peter. Back to you guys in studio.
Thanks very much, Lungani Mnguni there in Tabanchu in the Free State. He'll be making his way across the province throughout the next month and a half, bringing you all the issues there. Some good news and bad news, I guess, coming out of their social development services requiring more funding to try and keep those children fit and healthy. Lungani Mnguni there in the Free State province. Moving to the less fortunate in the Northern Cape now. A 100 megawatt solar plant has failed to light up the lives of residents of Pofadder. Now, illegal power connections have become a way of life in this power-bereft municipality. Let's take a look at this report.
Just a couple of miles away from the biggest solar thermal electric plant in Africa is Pofadder. Ironically, the residents do not reap the benefits of the first such facility in the country.
I have lived here for 10 years. The biggest problem I have is electricity. Every year I apply, but I never get an answer from the municipality, and this really makes me unhappy. Last week I was with one of the councillors, and he has a lot of problems which I don't understand. I urgently need power connection. I'm currently getting electricity from a pensioner.
Having given up on the municipality, the locals rely on illegal connections instead, and the costs are shared.
Kaima does not give the community problems. The problem is at the office. They have a book that you must fill in. Then they say they will come to you and have a look. Then I saw that people who have power, they steal electricity. They take leads and they connect dangerous connections. They take it across the road, under the ground, and when it rains, people can get really hurt.
We have all applied for electricity and toilets, and we have water, but they told us to be patient and that we will get electricity as they still have financial problems. So we wait, and all we see is them planting poles at different places, but we don't have electricity. I help her with electricity because she asked me to. We work it out like this. She gives me 200 rands every month, and I give my 200 rands.
The Kaima municipality is aware of the community's concerns. The officials claim they have plans in place to help the affected members of the community to get safe connection in their households.
Yes, the municipality is aware of the situation. Know that the community are complaining on a daily basis about the electricity. However, we are struggling to get electricity on demand because it's already over maximum demand. We have paid ESCOM last year, somewhere in June, to come and increase the demand, so that after that we can go out and give electricity to the community.
Illegal electricity connections are claiming lives of many South Africans and causing power outages throughout the country. Not just that, it is also costing ESCOM millions in lost revenue. The theft of electricity adds to the energy crisis facing the country, but it seems to be a vicious circle for the deprived.
Electricity is an issue for some of the residents here in Pofadder. Thus, the community has taken it upon themselves to distribute to those who do not have. The municipality is working with electricity suppliers to provide. This is Giovanni Majane reporting for SA Decides, Pofadder in the Northern Cape.
Well, let's go live now to Giovanni Majane. She is in Pofadder in the Northern Cape. Giovanni, good morning to you. Good chatting to you. How unsafe are these illegal electrical connections?
Good morning to you, Peter, and to the viewers at home. According to the last Housing General Survey, 11% of South Africans were without electricity, and another 3.6 were connected informally. Such is the situation in Pofadder. It is unsafe because the cables that run underground are better off but are informally placed, and there are others that run above the ground which cause a hazard and are unsafe to the community and to their children. Back to the studio.
One last question before you go. What is the municipality doing now to resolve the situation? Is there any work on the ground to make it safer and to get power illegally to more people?
We understand that the community is in talks with ESCOM because there is a limited amount of electricity being supplied to Pofadder, and now the demand is high, and that's the problem with not everybody receiving the electricity. ESCOM has also replied and said they are able to be in talks with the municipality and are willing to supply electricity, although we know there is a lot of admin and paperwork to be done. We understand that they are not illegal connections, because if 400 rand of electricity is sent to Pofadder, 400 rand is received by ESCOM. There is just informal connections, with a primary house being the main source, and it goes out to the surrounding 3 houses. Back to the studio.
Giovanni, one more question. I mean, just in terms of how people are feeling on the ground, they're obviously desperate. They need electricity on some level. Is there a sense of optimism ahead of the local government elections in a couple of months' time?
While there are definitely mixed emotions in regards to the upcoming elections, we spoke to a few community members. Others said they were looking forward to the voting and hoped that their vote would make a change. Others were not impressed and didn't even want to hear about the upcoming elections. They hadn't even registered to vote. When we brought up that yesterday was the last day to register for the upcoming elections, they didn't care, and they weren't even concerned. They decided that they will not vote because change doesn't come. For the past 10 years that they've been here, they are still living off the primary house's electricity, whereas other people have just come to reside here for a year and they have electricity. So they feel that there is some sort of unfairness happening in regards to who gets electricity and how.
Giovanni, thanks very much for that update. Fascinating there. Giovanni Matiane there. That's where we're going to leave SA Decides today. Another edition of the show coming up to 5 o'clock this afternoon. Time for a short break. All your news headlines up next.